Welcome to our Tremolo series.
In this series, we're going to look at tremolo pedals from some of our favorite manufacturers.
On today's episode, we're going to look at a tremolo pedal. But before we get into that, I'd like to ask you to consider subscribing to the channel, clicking the notification bell. Your interaction with us helps us interact with great people in the industry. And in this case, we went to our friends at Zzounds again, and we got in the Jackson Audio Twin Trem. I think Jackson Audio's initial foray here onto the channel. Came in this lovely bag. With a manual with some suggested settings, but we'll get into that later. But the Beard's going to tell you about this. This is a very unique pedal with some pretty unique features.
You know, we've done a lot of tremolos at this point.
You're welcome? Question mark.
Yeah, I don't know what the number is, but we've done a lot, and I don't think I've seen any. This is unique. There's some unique stuff here. Not unique would be that we have an optical tremolo and an harmonic tremolo. Mm-hmm. You know, we've had other pedals with both. Right. What I think is unique is that you have a switch for both. So you can turn on the optical, turn it off, turn on the harmonic, turn it off, or turn them both on. Right. That's kind of unique. The other unique thing on the back of the pedal, there's 4 jacks. There's 2 inputs and 2 outputs. And so this opens up like a whole, we're just talking about it real quick, and then we'll come back and we'll look at it later. But it opens up a whole wide variety of things. So you can go into the first in and out the last out, and it's just a normal pedal on your pedal board. And then you can pick which trem you want or do both. Or if you're running stereo, you could one side of your stereo rig into the optical and one side of your stereo rig into the harmonic. That's pretty cool. Or you could put this in your pedal chain and run in the optical and out to the rest of your pedal chain out to your amp. And then using the 4-cable method, get in the effects loop of your amp with the harmonic, or vice versa, which is pretty cool. So you could have one like in the effects loop and one in the pedal chain. Or you could go into the first in, out to another pedal, back in, and then out to the amp. So you would effectively take, and we did this later, we'll talk about it more, but like take a reverb pedal, so you have a reverb in front of your optical trem, but behind your harmonic. So lots of cool stuff with the ins and outs that you could think about. You have a depth and a speed for both. And then you have a volume. So your little, actually, I think it's on the screen here, the little blinking lights are the volume knob, right? Which is pretty cool. If you turn it on, there's the optical on, it's red. If I turn, or there's a harmonic on, it's red. If I turn the optical on, it would be blue. And then what I think is cool, and I don't know how that would show up on the camera, but if you turn them both on, you get that purplish.
Like a violet or...
Yeah, violet, the mix, which is pretty cool. And that's kind of it, right? Mm-hmm. So there's not like different waveforms and all that. So but this pedal is built like a tank. I said to Pat, it might win the award. We would have to compare it to the Origin Effect Tremolo. Right. One of those two is the heaviest tremolo pedal we have. And it's kind of cool because we can have it on the demo board and didn't even have to like tape it down or anything. It just is heavy enough to hold its own.
Right.
So, you heard a clip in the beginning with me playing, but I think we just jump right into... You're the tremolo guy. So why don't you tell them what you did and take the 3 options for a spin for them?
Yeah, we decided how do we want to do this to show the difference in the 2 tremolos. So I grabbed the PRS DGT SE that has been lovingly replaced with Porter pickups. And we found this neck pickup to be especially magical split. So all 3 of the clips you're about to hear are with that guitar neck split through the star of the show into the Echo Tour into the Tyler. So the first thing I played was on the optical side. So you'll get a flavor for what that sounds like. And here's what I did. All right, so as promised, same guitar, same pedal, same delay, same amp. I flipped it over to the harmonic side. And it wasn't exactly a 1-for-1 in the settings, but it was just like maybe how I possibly would use the harmonic, and here it is. So now I want to play with both of them on, and it took a little cocktailing to kind of play what I was planning on playing, and which one do I want fast, which one do I want slow, where do I want the depth, where do I want the volume. But this is how I landed on both the harmonic and the optical at the same time.
So I really like that dual thing. It kind of reminds me, it doesn't necessarily sound like a Leslie, but the idea is there where you have kind of these opposing speeds. Like in a Leslie, you would have maybe your rotor down at the bottom or whatever, and then the horns going kind of fast, and they're not necessarily matched up or in sync, and it creates some kind of interesting things. I thought he had that going. Not that it sounded like a Leslie, but there was some interesting movement going because of that.
Mm-hmm. And I tried to break through so you could hear that little beautiful fight between fast and slow and swirliness.
Yeah, it's cool. So I got interested in this idea of putting a reverb pedal in the middle because, like maybe in some, I don't know if it's every amp, but a lot of times tremolo can be after the reverb in an amp. So the way we have it plugged in, we're going in the amp, and then you hear the amp reverb after the tremolo. Well, what's it sound like if we stick a reverb in the middle? So now we're going to go to the optical trem we can go reverb, optical trim, and out. So I wanted to hear what that sounded like. And I was like, well, so here's what we did. We took this Wampler Catacombs that we just got in not too long ago. And we tried to dial up a reverb on this that was pretty similar to what's coming out of the amp. And you could probably yell at us and be like, why didn't you just record it with the pedal in the middle and then the pedal at the end? Because we didn't. This is what we did. Sorry. Sorry. Because we didn't think of it until after we did it.
That's right.
So anyway, try to get a reverb that was kind of similar. And so you're going to hear me play something with the amp reverb on in the tremolo. And then, I don't know if you'll be able to see him, Pat, sitting back on the floor. It reaches over, turns down the reverb. And then I click on the Catacombs and play it again. So then I switch to just because we could, the harmonic tremolo. Pat turns the amp back up. We play it with amp reverb. Then he turns it down and I turn on the Catacombs again. And so you got to think about it a little bit. It's the optical with the reverb and the amp after, then the optical with this reverb before, and then it's the harmonic with the reverb and the amp after, and the harmonic with this reverb after. And you might be able to hear the difference in reverbs and stuff and get an idea what's happening. I don't, until we sit down and really listen to it, I'm not sure what to expect.
And in the room, it sounds different sometimes than in the recording.
Right.
With the mic being this close to the cabinet.
I mean, think about, I think about if the reverb is after the tremolo, as the tremolo is doing this, maybe that's triggering the reverb a little bit. So maybe you'll have a little less reverb in the way from this being before. Here's the clip. All right, so we've reached the point of the video where we like to twist some knobs. We're going to start with the optical, then go to the harmonic. There shouldn't be a whole lot of knob twisting here, but we'll give you kind of the range on the depth, the range on the speed. Maybe start with the depth on this.
Okay.
So I'll click on the depth and then maybe click on the optical, take depth all the way down, all the way up. And maybe even do the speed in the same run. If that works for you.
Sure. And I don't know if it's worth the volume at some point, but
yeah.
Okay. And I always feel like I'm playing the DGT again, surprise. And to probably be an E minor in here somewhere because I gave it a tremolo. I feel like I have to play E minor.
All right, here we
Hope
go.
you like E minor because here it comes.
volume knob's a nice touch because of that maybe perceived. I always like saying that. Perceived volume loss from the tremolo effect. I think that's the first time we had the speed all the way up.
I think you're right. Yeah, we didn't check that at all.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And you know what I liked? The depth all the way down.
It was very slow.
Yeah, I mean, it was still there, but it was like just a little bit. Just a hint. It was cool. You want to do the same thing on the harmonic side?
All right.
Here we go.
I'll grace you with a different chord. Here we go.
So, I'm not going to try and live twist knobs to get the two of them both on at the same time.
Right.
But Pat said they do have some suggested settings here. They have the Psychodelic Rumble, the Fluttery Flakey Crust, and the Syncopated Throb. Where would you like to start?
Let me just go straight down the list because we haven't heard these, so it's going to be one of those. You play it, I'll hit a chord and decide where we go from there.
All right, so these little red lights with the lines on, with the lights above us, is not helping. I think that should be interesting. I'm gonna just put both volumes at noon.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I keep moving that.
You did. All right.
Here we
What's
go.
this called?
Hold on a second. I'm gonna hopefully not have to do too much editing.
We can't terribly influence.
This is a psychedelic rumble.
Okay. Wow.
All right, here we go. Fluttery Flakey Crust. We're going to take the speed all the way up. The depth is going to go about like 930-ish. The speed on the other one is like all the way up. Well, not quite all the way up. And that does make a big difference. And then, so the depths are both kind of low, but the speeds are cranking.
Oof, okay. Yeah.
That's actually pretty good.
It is. Pie crust is done.
Yeah, that's
That's cool.
a little more usable, maybe, I think.
I think so.
And the depth being down, I think, helped a lot. The Syncopated Throb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, the 12-year-old boys show up.
Syncopated Throb. Isn't that the name of a club?
It is now.
All right, here we go. Oh, wait, I gotta go this way. Yeah, I saw it move. Pretty close. Close enough.
Mm.
There's like a weird
Weird count, right?
time signature in there. I don't know if it was 5. Like, I don't know what it was, but
We'll blame that horrible playing in the beginning on the time signature.
should we leave that in or cut that just to the last one? Or
I don't know. I'll let the editor decide how much he wants to embarrass me.
if you say, if you don't say it, take it out. I'm not taking it out.
Okay.
All right, so that's it for knob twisting.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, and we hope you don't get up and walk around, but I think I am going to flip the amp off back here so it's not playing into the mic, and bring my chair back a little bit to normal. All right, so that leaves us, I think, final thoughts.
Yeah.
We spent some time with it.
Yeah, we have. And it was very interesting. And I do like it. Of course, why can't I not say that? Because I'm the guy who wanted to do the Tremolo series. You know, it's a coin toss between which I like better, the optical or the harmonic. I think the first pass that I took on the optical, I played the thing I normally play with tremolo, so I dialed up to where it felt very much like home, and I liked it. But the more I got into the harmonic side, the more I'm like, wow, we've done other harmonics, and none of them, I'm an old man, but none of them have stuck out to me or stood out to me. That sounded really good.
Yeah.
And in the outro, I'm going to play it even more with some drive that really, so I like them both. It would take a little bit of time to figure out practically how to use them together, but that option is there. A couple of those presets were interesting if I maybe spent a little more time with it. It's a great pedal. Like you said, it's built like a tank, and you probably got to post an affiliate link because I cannot remember the price point of this one, which we'll get to that at the end. We didn't get it because of price. We got it because we hadn't tried anything by Jackson Audio,
Right.
and we have a tremolo series. So, yeah, we only scratched the surface on, so the research you had done as far as how you can use those 4 ins and outs total and how to set it up. But it's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of. Sometimes I like, oh, I have so many options here, right? I got so many different waveforms and so many different whatever. But I'm also a fan of just a pedal that has does the thing it does really, really good with minimal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hi, I'm a tremolo pedal and I have a speed and I have and I sound
Depth,
really good.
right? Yeah.
It's speed and depth and it sound really good. And I think this one sounds really good. I think there's some unique options there in the back, especially if you are running a stereo rig or running like 4-cable method or whatever. There's some interesting options with that. It looks, I mean, let's face it, that means something. It looks great.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I said to Pat after we used this in another video. I think I used it when we did that weird Schecter guitar that we have back there.
Yeah, the one's coming up. In a
No,
minute.
not that. The Schecter. Schecter,
yeah,
I think we used
yes,
it.
Right. Gotcha.
And I think I said too, Harmonic Trem, Mick and Dan. Mick always talks about their harmonious monk and how the harmonic trend sounds like a vibe. And I've never, sure it does when he plays it, but I've never felt that way.
Yeah, we had one for a while. We tried it out.
Yeah, I've never felt that way about harmonic trem. Like I would replace a vibe pedal with that. But this sounds really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. This is So that's it. What are we calling this? The Twin Tremolo, Twin Trem from Jackson. And then I think there's some kind of collaboration.
The Silvertone brand is on there as well.
Yeah. So very cool stuff. Thanks for watching. Thanks for, hitting the subscribe button if you do. Click the notification bell, leaving comments. Any of that stuff is what helps us interact with cool people in the industry. In this case, Zzounds, but I don't know about you, but I'd like to try some more stuff from Jackson. And they bought Fulton, right?
Possibly.
I think so.
I'd have to go back to that. Yes.
So there's a lot of stuff in that world that they're doing right now that we would like to, like a Deja Vibe for the Vibe pedal for the Vibe series would be really good. Love to try that out. Bring that in. Anyway, so we appreciate that. That's what helps us bring cool stuff in to share with you. And so with that,
I'm PJ on behalf of the Beard, reminding you, no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear. So what does it sound like with the Keeley Blues Disorder and the St. Vincent?